Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, the topic is, drum roll, crying. I think crying is a very important and slightly touchy topic for numerous amounts of reasons. Duh. Probably more awkward for the guys here that are watching because we're manly. We don't ever cry or show our emotions. Thinking that crying means weakness is like, what? It's actually the opposite. Literally, science proves it. So following the regular sequence of my talk series, I will start off by giving a kind of a story and backstory for why I kind of want to talk about this topic. Moving forward, I will talk about an experiment that I've done research on and how it actually proves my point of crying. But what is my point? What am I even talking about? Crying is good for you. I'm basically trying to prove that crying is a very important thing in our lives, and without crying, you're not really releasing any of your stored energy or stored emotions, and it really has nowhere else to go. Story time. I remember in my first or second year of university, I was so busy with track, with school, with just kind of the whole lifestyle change that I didn't really give myself any time to just be like alone or a day to just chill. It was always like studying or working out. It was always doing something. I actually remember that during that time, I didn't process my own emotions. I didn't process my own feelings. If something bad happened, I would just keep pushing through. Something good happened, I wouldn't celebrate. I would just keep pushing through. And I actually never cried. I did not cry for an entire year. What did I feel like? Well, I felt like a robot. I actually don't remember feeling sad past a certain range, but I also wouldn't get happy past a certain range. There was a limit to all my emotions. I had turned into a robot. What did that do to me? Well, what? I am so popular today? Why are people texting me? Anyways, where was I? I remember my skin. I started breaking out so much. That was also because of lack of sleep, because I just wasn't taking care of myself, but I started breaking out a lot. Another thing, more irritable all the time. I would get irritated with my family. I would first of all barely see my family, but when I did see them, I would get bored or irritated really quickly, which I think there's something off with that. 3, I started to distance myself from my friends and my loved ones, and I didn't really understand why. And I know that you guys are probably thinking there could be various reasons, there could be numerous amounts of reasons why this happened. Maybe it's just the stress, maybe something else happened, maybe I was going through a life event. But personally, I know that it was because I know how to express emotions because I had no coping mechanisms with stress. So that's kind of why I think it's really important to talk about this. I also come from like a family that kind of thinks that it's feminine to cry and that crying just basically means you're weak. We're kind of brought up in society where if you cry, it's more like, oh, it's okay, stop crying, don't worry, everything's gonna be okay. But in my head, it's like, well, what if I'm just crying because I need to cry and release emotion? Crying should be a normal thing. It shouldn't just be always meaning that you're sad. I mean, we cry when we watch happy scenes in movies, don't we? So I don't know, I feel like crying is important because if it wasn't a thing that wasn't vital to you, then why do you feel better after you cry? Have you ever thought about that? Why do you feel better after you cry? Must be doing something right. After that long breakdown in your room, you just feel like the sun is now glistening in the sky and you've been reborn. I'm totally glamorizing a situation where someone's just had a full-on breakdown and cried, but you get the point. So now that story time is done and I've kind of given background onto why I personally want to talk about this, we're gonna get into a study that I found. It's a discussion paper by Mark Baker, and essentially this paper states that emotional crying is a uniquely human response and happens in all ages and all cultures. Doesn't matter if you're female or male. The study that was conducted in this paper is rather interesting. There were a group of participants and each participant was asked to watch a very sad part of a movie and have their hands submerged in ice water for as long as possible. The findings were pretty interesting too. Participants that cried during that sad scene were on average able to keep their hand immersed in the ice water for as long as possible. And those people that did not cry and therefore refrained themselves from crying were not able to handle the ice water. What the hell does that mean? Well, that basically means that the ability to release these emotions makes you more able to deal with any obstacles or forthcoming issues that may arise that's not under your control in life. In fact, current advancements suggest that crying increases the activation of the nervous system. Crying also relieves your body of countless toxins and hormones that contribute to higher stress levels. So that's why when you cry, you're letting these hormones and these toxins out of your body, and therefore you notice that you can sleep like a baby after, or you're just in general more calm. Crying also helps reduce blood pressure. I'm not trying to motivate you guys to cry more. I'm literally just trying to give you the other side of crying that you just don't see in social media, especially if you're a guy. And just on a little bit of a deeper level, crying is almost like giving in. It's like giving in to your inner self and becoming more aware of the person you actually are. When you cry, you allow yourself to be vulnerable to yourself. And I know it sounds really weird to say that, like, hey, I let my guard down around myself. We don't know this because it's not on our conscious, but we actually struggle to be vulnerable even with ourselves. So that's probably why even when you're alone and you cry, you feel a little embarrassed, but it's totally okay. I still sometimes feel embarrassed and then I just tell myself, shut up. Let yourself cry, bitch. Basically, crying also kind of knocks you down a couple notches, if you know what I mean. So from my personal experience, when I cry, it humbles me a little bit. It makes me notice and see that, like, hey, I don't have it all under control because I'm not meant to have it all under control. I'm literally nobody. I'm a little speck in this entire universe that's just trying to figure stuff out, that's just made. Literally, humans made this world made our social structure the way it is. So I'm just here trying to figure that out. For me to stop myself from crying in a world full of unknowns just means that my ego is like beyond the planet. Like, it's just out the roof. And it's like, why? Why do I even have an ego? The one thing that I personally notice when I cry is that my ego and my pride are just completely banished in that moment. I feel like I'm very at peace. I no longer feel the need to prove myself in that moment, nor should you ever. There's a lot of benefits even past physical ones. So that's why I really wanted to discuss crying today. Please, like, if this is like a video that you didn't think you're ever gonna come across, I just think it's really important and it was on my mind to share this video. I do have some tips for you if you do struggle to cry, because literally I didn't cry for like almost a year and it was very hard for me to cry. Sometimes I still feel embarrassed when I cry, even though I'm all alone. Why? I don't know. But I do have some techniques and ways that kind of help me cope with that. When I feel the urge to cry, I no longer just like try to cover it up, or like, you know how you go like, and you try really hard to not cry. I just kind of excuse myself and I go to the bathroom and I literally like force my tears out, if that makes sense. Like, not forcing them out, I'm not forcing myself to cry. It's when the tears are already there, something that has happened upset me, and in that moment I don't want to suppress my tears because I know that it's only damaging me. I just go to the bathroom, I excuse myself, and I cry. It might seem a little weird to do such a thing, but it just helps, because when you suppress your emotions, the toxins and the feelings, they have nowhere to go. They just go into your freaking organs probably, and like some weird body part starts hurting and you're probably like, oh, why do I have a headache? That's strange. Or like, oh my god, my ankles hurt. I don't know. Whatever, you know what I mean? So for an overall healthier life and a healthier mind, allow yourself to cry. If you don't have friends that kind of like, or if you have friends that think that crying is weakness, I don't know, try to either talk to them and like be like, hey, I'm kind of going through something right now and what you said upset me. Let's talk it out. And if they're not willing to do that and you feel upset, maybe you need new friends or maybe they just need to mature up, you know? So all I'm basically asking, and I really hope that your takeaway here is that be more aware. be more aware of your emotions, be more aware of what your body needs in that moment, because trust me, you guys, health is wealth, and we gotta start taking care of ourselves now so that we're happier in the future and we'll actually thank ourselves. Our body is a temple. That saying is so cliche, but our body is a temple, so let's start treating it like one. Yeah, so I hope you guys got something out of this. Guys, if you're watching this, crying is not weak. You're a human. You need to express your emotions the same as everyone else. Animals, plants, nature, anything. Literally, you're part of the world. Don't think that you can't cry. And again, if your surroundings are making you feel like you can't do such a thing because you have to prove yourself, I would say instead of changing yourself, try to change up your surroundings. But that's just my thoughts. But yeah, aside from that, that was my Talk Tuesday number 4. Talk Tuesday number 4. I really hope you guys got something out of this, and once again, please feel free to comment your thoughts or comment another thread or topic that you want me to discuss for next week. I will dive right in and I'll do research. I've also linked the research paper that I got the information from in today's Talk Tuesday in the description below, so if you want, you can give that a check out. The article's not too long. I do recommend you give it a read. Aside from that, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed my video. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on next Talk Tuesday. Adios, amigos. And I don't know how to end this with a really sick bang. Like, let's cry together. Keep crying it out. I think that's a good one. Keep crying it out.